We're joined by ABC's Cokie Roberts and political contributor Donna Brazil, both in Washington. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Donna.
Donna, I want to start with you, but it's the same question for both of you. They agreed to disagree on what happened, but agreed possibly to see each other again. So, Donna, does this mean that it's over for the president, and how did he emerge from it in the end?
I believe President Obama set the right tone, and first of all, admitting that perhaps his own choice of words might have escalated the tensions, but in inviting Professor Gates and Officer Crowley, he gives us now a model for which we can all gather around tables to have a discussion, to move beyond the hot rhetoric, and to have a much broader discussion on how we can improve relations between the minority communities and the police department. I think that is the larger message of this meeting.
Oh, Cokie, what about you?
Well, I think the president certainly hopes it's behind him now. Now, in some ways, Diane, the White House escalated this. I mean, all week we were hearing details of who was drinking what beer and all of that, which, you know, just kept it in the headlines. And now, you know, this huge media event around four guys sitting having a beer. I think that with any luck from the Obama White House's perspective, this is over now.
Let me ask you, Cokie, as you were looking at the pictures, what did you see behind the picture? We know, of course, 40 minutes under the magnolia tree, but which images spoke to you?
Well, of course, we didn't expect the vice president to be there, so that was kind of the first thing that got your attention. But obviously, look, any one of us, if we were summoned to the White House to have a formal conversation, would be nervous about it. And the two guests did seem somewhat tense and nervous, but so would I have been.
And Donna, what images do you think were the most vivid?
Well, you know, Dr. King once said in his famous I Have a Dream speech that he viewed the table of brotherhood where people could come together to discuss tough issues. And I saw four men gathered around a table with a cold beer, hopefully discussing the issue at hand. So this was a very important moment that we can settle our differences not by fighting each other, not by just debating, but also by having a candid and cool conversation. Like
and what you know,
else.
talking about brotherhood there, afterwards for Sergeant Crowley to go to the brotherhood of the AFL-CIO
yes.
Tells you something, because that means the unions were really basically backing him. And there is, you know, there is a divide in the Democratic Party between people who are in unions, many white ethnics, and a sense of the elite of the Harvards and Yales of the world. And I think that was pretty stark to have Sergeant Crowley go to the union to make his press conference. But
all across America, police departments are taking an internal review of their own procedures to ensure that this type of incident will not occur again, and if so, perhaps that they can learn from it and handle it better. And I think the city of Cambridge will give us at some point a very useful model to use across the country when these things happen.
So at the end of the day, Donna, what did you think of Sergeant Crowley's press conference?
First of all, I loved it so much that I created a new succotash dish in his honor. It's a little less filling than gumbo, but I was so impressed. I want a police officer like that in my community, because I saw a guy who not only was composed, but he was on message, and more importantly, Diane, he sent a very important message that it was time to move on and come together. And also, he wants to go back to work, too.
You know, Diane, Donna and I are both Louisiana girls, and we're really grateful when okra's in season, and that's what she was working on last night.
Yeah.
Okay, succotash dish? Succotash dish? Did I miss something here?
With okra.
Okra, corn, butter beans, and of course the best Gulf shrimp in the world. I made it in honor of both Professor Gates and Sergeant Crowley, so I wish I would have had an opportunity to serve it, because it was piping hot when I finished.
You two gave new meaning to the phrase, all politics is local. It's
That's
like
true.
in your kitchen.
In your kitchen,
and that's
with a lot of Tabasco.
Right.
And that's where I watched it. I watched it in the kitchen, and it felt like I was down home. It was wonderful.
All right, well, thanks to the two of you.